When it comes to Bikini Bottom, nothing's more confusing than SpongeBob's pineapple under the sea. One minute, it's got a library big enough for a college campus. And the next, it's rocking a bathroom fancy enough to make King Neptune jealous. And that's why in today's video, we're going to 123 Conch Street to finally answer the question, how does everyone's favorite underwater pineapple actually work? At first glance, SpongeBob's home seems pretty simple. It's a pineapple with 3 floors and all of SpongeBob's worldly belongings crammed inside. But what most people don't realize is that this thing is basically a luxury condo hiding in a fruit costume. To break down this architectural fever dream, we're taking it floor by floor. And where better to start than the ground floor? As SpongeBob's go-to living area, you'd think we'd know every square inch of this space. But once you take a closer look, you begin to realize just how wrong we were. For instance, take SpongeBob's kitchen in the episode Pet Sitter Pat. Here, SpongeBob recruits Patrick to watch Gary while he goes over to Grandma's for her birthday.
I am going to see my grandma for her birthday, and I'm trusting my best pal.
Once Patrick agrees to take care of Gary, we get a shot of the ground floor kitchen in its full glory. But that's where everything goes to hell. With Patrick being the worst caretaker in the history of Bikini Bottom, Gary ends up crawling into the kitchen pantry. Yes, a pantry which somehow exists inside SpongeBob's tiny pineapple. Looking at all the spices and condiments stashed in the pantry, it looks like SpongeBob would need a huge cutout at the back of his home to accommodate them. But that's not the case. In the episode Naughty Nautical Neighbors, we get a good look at the back of the pineapple, which begs the question, how does SpongeBob cram all of that into a room the size of a closet? Last we checked, he wasn't a magician, just a very enthusiastic fry cook with a house that clearly breaks every law of physics. And before we can even catch our breath, the kitchen pops up again in Karate Star. Only this time, the pantry has mysteriously vanished. You might think we missed it, but nope. We took a real hard look and the kitchen is mostly intact except for the really important pantry. That's already a terrible start for SpongeBob's ground floor, but what's more confusing than a disappearing pantry? A disappearing closet. Because apparently, in this pineapple, storage spaces come and go like they're on vacation. We get a good first look at this phenomenon in the episode Gone. In this episode, SpongeBob discovers he's the only living creature left in Bikini Bottom.
Where did everybody go?
Sending him into a full-on meltdown as he hilariously tries to pretend to be everyone in town. Once SpongeBob realizes there's no one around to stop him, he crashes a boat into his house, revealing a closet on the left side of the living room. So how exactly does he miraculously have a closet on the right side in party pooper pants? It's either that he rebuilt his pineapple home solely for the party, or he might have had some help from Plankton. Compared to the kitchen and that chaotic utility closet, the living room is shockingly normal. But there's just one tiny problem, and it hits you like a kelp brick in the episode Walhalla. Having a hobo crash on your couch is one thing, but having one living inside your walls is a whole new level of nightmare fuel. The sheer amount of empty space hiding between SpongeBob's walls makes zero sense. And don't get comfy. Once we head up to the next floor, things stop being weird and start getting full-blown freaky. Most people barely know anything about SpongeBob's first floor, and honestly, can you blame them? Probably because it features the 2 most unhinged rooms a pineapple has ever held. A full library and a whole gym. If we were talking about Squilliam Fancy Son, a library wouldn't feel so out of place. But for someone who's best friends with Patrick Star, we couldn't believe what we saw in the episode Something Smells. Not just because the library is ridiculously massive, but because it somehow includes a full-sized pipe organ that SpongeBob proceeds to play like he's Mozart. Even though we hardly ever see him reading there, it still makes an appearance in Shell Shocked, but this time it magically grows a slide. In another episode named Boating School, SpongeBob flunks his boating exam so spectacularly that he practically gives poor Mrs. Puff PTSD.
Floor it?
No, don't floor it.
Okay, floor it.
No.
Then Patrick shows up after somehow sneaking into the house like a pink ninja, and SpongeBob goes through the library, giving us yet another VIP tour of his endless haul of books. To give SpongeBob some credit, the library doesn't really undergo massive changes throughout the show, but due to its size and number of books, there is no explaining how he managed to fit it all into that tiny space. Once you're done giving SpongeBob a pass about the library he doesn't use, we have to move on to the gym. And this is where things get even freakier. We've racked our brains for hours to try to understand why an underwater sponge would need a gym. And even though we couldn't come up with a straight answer, No Nose Knows shows us that SpongeBob loves to work out. In this episode, Patrick finally gets a nose and instantly goes on the offensive against anything that stinks.
Smells are all around me.
Unfortunately for SpongeBob, a workout at his gym leaves his porous body sweaty, smelly, and directly in Patrick's crosshairs. Once the gym has been established, the episode Pinned takes things a bit further by showing us its location in the house. It kicks off with SpongeBob getting pinned under a barbel after taking his workout way too far. After what seems like years, Patrick strolls in with a crew of party pirates, and we get a telling shot that confirms the gym is actually on the first floor. After doing all the hard work of showing us where the gym actually is, the showrunners immediately break their own reality with a full U-turn in A Pal for Gary. After Gary gets attacked by a monster, we watch SpongeBob run down the stairs to reach the gym. Something that should be impossible unless he secretly unlocked the power to rearrange floors like a wizard sea sponge. To mess with us even further, the episode Muscle Bob Buff Pants throws out everything we've learned about the gym and has SpongeBob working out in his living room like a savage. Any sane person knows that you don't work out in your living quarters when you have a gym. But someone forgot to tell SpongeBob. By the end of the episode, SpongeBob gives up on working out entirely and slaps on a pair of fake buff arms that make him look like a shredded pool noodle.
Who are you expecting?
So honestly, the gym is basically useless, turning the entire first floor of his house into the most neglected real estate in Bikini Bottom. Unfortunately for SpongeBob, there are still other floors of his crazy house to discuss, and it's finally time to address the second floor. You might know it as the place where he keeps his bedroom and bathroom, but to us, it's less a cozy living space and more an architectural fever dream. If you're wondering why we believe this floor makes no sense, we'd like to show you the bathroom scene from the SpongeBob movie. As SpongeBob goes through his bathroom routine, we see that it's a mid-sized bathroom with pink duck wallpaper, a sink, and a simple hose. For someone who could afford to get a massive library in their home, cheapening out on your bathroom makes no sense. But that's where SpongeBob tricks you. In Stuck in the Ringer, SpongeBob suddenly shows off a brand new bathroom with green wallpaper, a tub, a sink, and of course, the infamous ringer.
What would I do without you, Ringer?
Unless Mr. Krabs cut him a fat renovation check, which we know would never happen, this upgraded bathroom makes absolutely zero sense. We barely finished questioning SpongeBob's surprise bathroom renovation before realizing something even wilder. Throughout the show, SpongeBob keeps revealing different bathrooms on almost every floor of his house. With the bathroom covered, we have to move on to the final location in SpongeBob's home that doesn't rely on spatial configuration known to man. If you don't believe us, we'd like to submit a clip from the episode Love That Squid, where SpongeBob and Squidward found themselves on the roof of the pineapple. In order to get Squidward ready for his date, SpongeBob takes Squidward to the roof of his home for a practice date. And it's the weirdest thing we've ever seen. At first glance, it looks like a chill grassy rooftop lounge, but then you notice it's so absurdly high up, you'd expect an elevator, a pulley system, something. Instead, SpongeBob casually strolls up the same staircase we know leads to the library. And just when you think you've cracked the blueprint, the show throws us in an attic in the episode Squidiot Box. One look at that tiny roof is enough to know there's no universe where it fits an attic big enough for SpongeBob's chaotic playdates. If you're still not convinced that SpongeBob's home is an alien artifact, then maybe you can explain how SpongeBob's pineapple somehow has a garage. Yup, a full-blown garage as seen in the episode Reef Blower. Watching him slide into the garage without even opening the door was impressive, sure, but not impressive enough to distract us from the real question. Why does this pineapple home need a garage when he can't even drive? To answer that question, we have to skip a few episodes to Krabby Road, where SpongeBob and Plankton start a band to try to gain music fame in Bikini Bottom. Even though the whole band thing turned out to just be another one of Plankton's schemes to snag the Krabby Patty formula, we still ended up getting another clear look at the garage. And just to show that the garage isn't just a one-off thing, we also see it in Naughty Nautical Neighbors. This time, we get a complete back view of SpongeBob and Patrick's home as they both compete to see who could be Squidward's best friend. The fact that SpongeBob's residence was the only house with a garage proves that something fishy must be going on. And for once, it's not just the smell. After crawling through every weird corner of SpongeBob's house, we can finally admit that we'll never understand how it works because this pineapple breaks every law of physics and architecture. If you stuck around till the end of the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel or you're going to be as smart as Patrick.